Go back. Dinosaur toys! You look over at the nightstand. There are at least 15 plastic dinosaur minifigures lined up neatly next to the lamp. You wouldn't have thought anything of it if there were maybe one or two, but 15? There has got to be some sort of lore concerning this. I checked my phone while I was away. What's with the dinos? The question comes out blunter than you meant it to, but Artemis doesn't seem to be fazed by it. In fact, they're smiling. They lean toward you, your shoulders touching. There's not really much to it. I just really like dinosaurs. Like, I was totally obsessed with them. Haha, really? That's cute. It's not cute. It's so nerdy. Even now, I can still remember some of the hundreds of dinosaur facts I absorbed when I was a teenager. You bump your shoulder against theirs, the gesture fond. Nerdy can be cute, especially if it's you. Artemis' cheeks grow red at that. They roll their eyes, but you know it's good-natured by the way their lips are still quirked up. Oh, shut up. Can you tell me a dinosaur fact? Artemis' expression goes pensive. Their nips. Ow! I don't do those slips on purpose, I promise. Try again. Artemis well, I can't even say his name now, or their name. Artemis's expression goes pensive, their lips setting in a pout. There's a beat of silence as they stare at the ceiling in thought for a second. But when their gaze settles back on you, their eyes are bright. Oh, well, I've always thought the etymology of the word dinosaur was really cool. It's of Greek origin, did you know? It means terrible lizard. It's the word dinos, which means terrible, and sauros, which means reptile. But they were only called that because they were big, not because they were particularly bad or anything. The etymologies of dinosaur names are really cool too. Oftentimes, they are made up of Greek and Latin words that describe anatomical or behavioral characteristics. Other times, the names describe the places the fossils were found. You can tell that they are rambling now, caught up in their own knowledge. Gods, they're so cute. Like, take the Stegosaurus for example. You know that one, right? Yeah, I know that one. Okay, cool. So, you know the large spiky plate-looking things on the back of the Stegosaurus? Yeah. So when they unearthed the fossils of it, the paleontologists that discovered it thought the plates looked a lot like roof tiles. The name means roofed lizard, like the Greek stegos, which is a roof, and then saurus, which is the Latinized form of the Greek sauros I mentioned earlier.
It's super cool. I think entomology is so neat.
Aww. Wow, it's so impressive that you know this. I bet you have so many more interesting facts. You mean it generally. The color in Artemis's cheeks redens a little more. They scratch the back of their head, sheepish. I guess. Being a dinosaur fan was one of my biggest personality traits for a while. And even though it's been years, I can't seem to let go of the random stuff that I know. I'm gonna check something real quick. Okay, cool. What's your favorite dinosaur? Oh god, this is a hard question. I think maybe the wow. Let me try to sound this out. The RAM for just wow. You have no clue what they just said. RAM for what? Artemis keeps talking, waving their hands around at nothing in particular. I'm kind of cheating though, because technically they're not dinosaurs. They're pterosaurs. Pterosaurs are flying reptiles, like the pterodactyl, for example. Everyone thinks pterosaurs are dinosaurs, but they have a common ancestor, and that's pretty much it. But I just like the RAM for Hyunchus because it's so weird and strange looking. Seriously, it's so ugly and I love it. It's the equivalent of a crusty old dog to me. Oh my god. It has a longest tail and longest snout and those beady fucking eyes. Like, god, it's so ugly. Definitely my favorite. 90% of those words Artemis just said made no sense to you. But, you know, if they're happy, you're happy. You make a note to Google this dinosaur. No, pterosaur, later, if you can remember how to spell it. Glow-in-the-dark stars. You gaze up at the ceiling, looking at all the stars stuck onto it. There doesn't seem to be any particular pattern to them, and you don't think any of them are supposed to be any specific constellation, but you like them. I like the stars. It's an idle comment. Artemis looks up at the ceiling with you. Thanks. I'm surprised they haven't fallen off after all these years. I like them a lot. Maybe I should buy some for my room back home. Ooh, that'd be cool. You should do that. Artemis nods thoughtfully, scrunching their mouth to the side. I would love to have little stars on like my walls and my ceiling, but I have the popcorn ceiling, which they will not stick to, and I live in an apartment. And I'm saying this into fruition. When I get my own place, my own house, I will get the glow-in-the-dark stars. Yeah, I should. You and Artemis chat a little more about all the trinkets and baubles they have lying about their childhood room. They wander around about the room and fiddle with things as the both of you talk, searching for something to aimlessly busy themselves with. One thing leads to another, and somehow you end up helping Artemis reposition their bed and tidy the paint-spattered desk. They say something about how they rearranged this room what feels like 100 times. Then you hear a voice call them from downstairs.
Artemis!
Artemis startles. It's kind of amusing. You have to bite back a smile at the way they jump. Artemis, come make your sister a snack. This sentence is fainter than the initial call, but Artemis seems to hear it just fine. They straighten, turning to you and nudging you gently on the arm. Come on, I'll make you a snack too while I'm at it. They're very accommodating to their dad's request, which surprises you for some reason. Do they often make afternoon snacks for their sister? They're acting like this is totally normal. The thought of them always having an afternoon snack prepared for Diana makes your heart twist in your chest. Aw, okay. Their hand lingers on your arm, fingers sliding down to your wrist and ghosting over the back of your hand. The tenderness of even their lightest touch makes the apples of your cheeks go warm. You've noticed they become a lot more forward with their physical contact with you recently. But you know if you told them to slow it down, they would. They pull away just a second later, tilting their head towards the bedroom door in an attempt to get you to follow them. You're close on their heels as they leave the room and trot into the kitchen. Diana is sitting at the island, talking to Gavin, who's sat next to her, typing away on a laptop. When she notices Artemis walk in, her face brightens. Aw.
What's up, Stink?
What do you want for snack? Diana tilts her head, humming thoughtfully. Seems like her conversation with Gavin is effectively forgotten. I kind of want carrots and broccoli. Oh, veggies? You linger by the island as Artemis goes to open up the fridge, leaning into it to inspect the contents. How about cherry tomatoes too? You guys have like 4 containers of them. Or do you just want carrots and broccoli? Cherry tomato sounds good. I like tomatoes. She loves tomatoes. She hasn't stopped eating them for weeks. That's why we have so many containers. She won't stop eating them. So, I did not grow up eating vegetables, and I didn't realize later on that, because I remember myself only eating certain foods, one of them being fried chicken legs, and it wasn't until later on that I realized fried chicken is one of my safe foods, and it's an autistic trait to only want certain foods. And back then I was labeled as picky, I was labeled as difficult, all that. But I have issues with like the taste and the texture of vegetables and some fruits and all that. Actually, a lot of foods. Some foods, it took me so long to get used to the taste and the texture and all that. Some foods I just can't. Like mushrooms, no. It doesn't help that I had a cousin when I was a lot younger. I think it was like six or 7. And I've told this story before. He told me that when they're picking the mushrooms to send to the store, sometimes the people picking the mushrooms would pick the wrong mushrooms. And so sometimes there would be poisonous mushrooms in with the good, safe to eat mushrooms. And that just ruined it for me. And even though now that I'm an adult, I know that's not true, that's just there in my head all the time. I see a mushroom and my brain goes, but what if? But what if? So no, can't. But like, I'll eat carrots and corn and potatoes and broccoli. Those I don't have an issue with. Or some else. And then a lot of the common fruits like apples, oranges, grapes, raspberries. I think blueberries too, but not that often. Those I can be okay with. But a lot of other ones, like, I can't do pineapple because pineapple, like oranges are the most that I can handle texture-wise. Pineapple is just, no, there's just too much. There's too much to the pineapple for me to be able to handle, along with a lot of other stuff. And like, when it comes to juices, it can't be too tart. Like, pineapple juice, too tart for me. Orange juice, it has to be no pulp. If there's any bit of pulp, absolutely not. Like, I'm trying to have a drink, not floss my teeth, you know? Tomatoes are another one that I can't. I just can't. Like, to me, there's too much to the tomato that I just can't handle. I can barely handle when I bite into a fruit and it's like explodes and has the juice squirting out and stuff. That I can barely handle. Tomato is a bit too much for me. Oh, peaches, pears, and apricots are other fruits that I can handle. And nectarines. Because my grandpa, my dad's father, used to babysit me when I was in junior high and high school. And he had a lot of fruit trees that me and the other little boy that he used to babysit, we just sit in his backyard and just be picking fruit from the tree and just sitting and eating it. Good memories. Gavin says this without looking up from his computer, fingers flying across the keyboard. At the fridge, Artemis laughs. They start to pull vegetables out of the drawers and off the shelves, setting them on the island. I like them. I bring them for lunch every day. I like to share with my friends. You watch Artemis open a cabinet, grabbing a shallow dish before going to the sink and beginning to rinse off all the vegetables. Really? Do your friends like them? Diana kind of shrugs a little. Some of them do. Jeannie likes them the best, but the tomatoes she brings for lunch are better than mine because she grows all of hers at home. Sometimes we trade. Jeannie is the one with the really long hair, right? Yeah, Roxy got it cut last week, but I don't think she likes it very much. She seems really sad. Aw, poor thing. Well, on the bright side, hair always grows back. It won't be before long until her hair is back to the length it was before. Artemis is pulling the broccoli florets apart into smaller pieces and placing them in the dish. You were at school today, right? How was it? It was good. I got a B on my geography quiz. We also did some spelling games because the spelling bee is tomorrow. I didn't take the bus home today. Daddy picked me up and we went to go get you and Tiny. Right after school? Wow, you spent forever in the car. There and back is 2 hours. It's okay. I took a nap, so it didn't feel like too long. Artemis puts the dishes of veggies in front of Diana. Everything colorful on the plate, next to an inelegant blob of ranch. Diana goes for the cherry tomatoes first, popping in at least 3 into her mouth in one go after chirping out her things. Artemis grabs another dish from the cabinet behind them. You think this one is supposed to be for you.
Kid, I don't mind coming to pick you up when you visit, but something's gotta give.
Oh no. The comment is idle, like Gavin didn't mean much by it, but he stopped typing, eyes on Artemis. Artemis purses her lips, paying almost too much attention to the arrangement of vegetables on the plate. I guess. Artemis sets the second plate in front of you. You finally settle down in one of the chairs at the island, but you're watching the way Artemis's expression shifts as the moments pass. Driving is a good skill to have. Artemis grimaces then. I know. Honestly, okay, here's the thing. I am a super anxious person. So I don't know if I could ever be cool with driving. What stops me absolutely from driving is the fact that I have issues with my reaction time, and a lot of the skills are required with quick thinking I don't have. If you watched any sort of videos of me playing games, you know that my first reaction to things getting a bit too much is to panic, which is not a good thing when you're trying to learn to drive. So, or trying to drive at all, especially not when you're in control of this big, huge, heavy vehicle. So yeah, I will not be good driving. It does frustrate me though sometimes that others have to drive me to and from places, and I feel like I'm a bother because they're having to do that, even though they say it's not a problem. But yeah, I do feel like it restricts me so much of how much I get out and where I go, just because I don't have the independence of driving on my own. So I get where Artemis's dad is coming from, but on the other hand, I also know the other side too. I know. If you learned, I could help you buy a car. I got my advance for my next novel, and I'm willing to help you. Dad, you really don't have to. This is something for me to handle, I think. You're not sure if Artemis is still talking about driving. The look that they share with their dad then is so full of emotion that you feel like you're intruding. You start to munch on a carrot in an attempt to distract yourself. You hear Gavin sigh lightly and go back to typing. He mentioned a novel. Maybe he's a writer? Maybe you can ask him about it later if you remember. It's not long before Artemis sits down next to you, reaching over to snag some broccoli from your plate. They lean in a little, like whatever they say next is only for you. Sorry, I should have asked you before just giving you vegetables. You smile. It's okay. Vegetables are fine with me. Okay, good. I would hate to hand you something you didn't like. You both eat in comfortable silence. The only noises being Diana munching on her carrots, and the sound of Gavin's fingers flying across his keyboard. It's only a little while longer until Diana is getting out of her chair and bringing her empty plate to the sink. He washes it, puts it on the drying rack, then skips over to Gavin, patting him on the arm incessantly. Daddy, can I play my spelling game on the TV? Gavin looks at her fondly, seemingly pretending to think before nodding his head.
Sure, honey.
But you can't play for too long because your mom will be home soon, okay? Okay. Diana comes over to you and Artemis next, bouncing on the balls of her feet. Guys, do you want to watch me play my spelling game? Her eyes are big and searching as she waits for you to answer. Artemis casts you an amused glance. Sure, I don't see why not. Yay! Okay, come on, it's really cool. The both of you get up to follow Diane to the living room, but Artemis lingers behind for just a moment to wash the plate. They're by your side again quickly enough. It It doesn't take long for Diana to turn on the television and boot up her spelling game. It looks like an action-adventure game that has you put together word spellings to defeat enemies in a series of dungeons. And it's starting to become obvious to you that Diana is a really good speller for her age. The game is fun to watch. Artemis gives her tips while she stalls and asks for them. When she stalls and asks for them. You and Artemis are situated on the opposite side of the couch, and you're sandwiched between the armrest and the press of Artemis's side against yours. They smell really nice, like the chill of the winter air and their sweet shampoo. You're typing away on your phone, distracted from Diana's game, when Artemis wriggles their arm out from between you and slings it across your shoulders. It's an effortless move, one that Artemis doesn't even seem to think twice about. They're in the middle of helping Diana work through a level, their gaze on the television. The ease with which they touch you nowadays makes a happy rush fill your body. You can't help but snuggle into their side, feeling their warmth through their clothes. There's a moment when Diana looks away from the television entirely, looking at the both of you on the other side of the couch. You make eye contact with her and she cocks her head.
What?
You stuck again? Diana sets her controller in her lap, hand still holding it. She hums.
You guys match up right.
Oh my god. Oh, the innocence of a child. She doesn't say anything after that, but the words are approving and filled with surety. She looks at you and Artemis for a moment longer, then turns back to her game without explaining herself. Artemis looks at you, eyebrows raised. You mimic the expression, sticking your lips out in a thoughtful pout. What does she mean by that? Your voice is low so that Diana won't exactly be able to hear it over the game's volume. Artemis's mouth tugs into the slightest smile. With the hand that's on your shoulder, they smooth out the wrinkles in your shirt sleeve.
I think she means you look good together.
Aww. A shy smile splits your face before you can stop yourself. You hum softly, reaching out to straighten Artemis's necklace, dragging the clasp to the back of their neck. Well, I think I have to agree. Artemis's eyes lit. Suddenly they're cocky, leaning in towards you, lips pulled back in a flirty little grin. Oh yeah? They whisper the words and your brain feels like it could melt. They better stop before you do something you'll both regret. Diana plays her game for nearly another hour. Artemis keeps her arm around you, idly twirling a lock of your hair around and around their finger as they watch Diana fly through word spellings. They trace the hem of your collar with their forefinger once they grow bored, their touch very nearly ghosting your skin. It's only when you hear the sound of the front door opening and closing that Diana drops her laser-sharp focus from the television. The shift is instant, like she never cared about her game in the first place. She tosses the controller down on the console table, not even bothering to pause the game, and leaps off the couch to run out of the living room.
Mommy!
Aww. You hear high heels click across the kitchen tiles. Gavin's low voice saying hello. Diana's instant chatter already beginning to spill out of the kitchen and into the living room. You hear a third voice, something smooth and bright, and you assume this one belongs to Artemis's stepmom. You glance over at Artemis. They're tapping away on their phone with their free hand, relatively unfazed. It doesn't seem like they have much intent on getting up. You recall that Artemis doesn't have the greatest relationship with their stepmom. You remember them telling you that the relationship between them and their stepmom has always been tense, ever since she and Gavin got married, apparently. You can understand why they're hesitant to move. Even so, being a guest in Artemis's childhood home among their family, it feels wrong for you not to go and introduce yourself. You don't want everyone to think you're disrespectful. You nudge Artemis gently, trying to get their attention. You can hear a conversation in the other room. They look over at you, brows raised in curiosity. Did we go over? Artemis looks at you for a long second, long enough that you're about to believe that they're going to say no. Something indecipherable working through their expression. Okay, sure. They get up, flipping their arm from your shoulders, and you're close to follow them as they shuffle out of the living room and into the kitchen. Gavin and Diana are in the kitchen, leaned against the counter in a careful... Let me try that again. Gavin and Diana are in the kitchen, and leaned against the counter in a carefully pressed blazer and pencil skirt is who you assume to be Artemis's stepmom. She's beautiful, with soft cheeks, flowing dark hair, and patches of scales rippling across her skin. She and Diana share a similar face. Her eyes flick to you when you and Artemis walk into the kitchen. Diana notices as well, flitting around her mom and beginning to ramble about you and Artemis. Gavin is busy, surrounded by what seems to be the beginnings of a meal.
Mommy!
Mommy, Artie and Tiny are here. She babbles out something else that you can't understand, but her mom gazes at you in particular with an air of interest. You can feel your cheeks growing warm. You lift your hand in greeting. Hi, I'm Tiny, Artemis's partner. Nice to meet you.
For sure. Nice to meet you. I'm Nevaeh.
Diana's told me a lot about you. For some reason, you find this to be so embarrassing. You know Artemis has talked about you, but for Diana to be talking about what Artemis has told her makes you kind of want to implode. You have no clue what Artemis has shared with her, nor do you have any clue what exactly Diana has shared with her mother or whoever else. All good things, I hope, haha. Nevaeh casts you a smile, something reassuring. Absolutely. Okay, good. Whew. I remember when I first played through this, I was so nervous. Nevaeh's gaze flies over to Artemis, who stands just behind you. You peek at them. Their hands are pushed into their pockets.
Hey, Nevaeh.
Huh? They call her by her first name. You're not sure what else you expected. This seems common enough for step-parents, but for some reason... And honestly, for me, hold on one second. But yeah, like I was saying, with my stepmom, I was 10 when she married my dad. And I tried for the longest time. Like, I tried for a bit to call her mom and all that, but it didn't seem right. And so I now just refer to her by her name. And she's since passed away. I believe it's been over 10 years. Yeah. So it's been 12 years. Because she passed away on my birthday in 2013. I had to look at one of my photo albums to double check. But yeah. Sometimes you can make a connection with a step-parents and you can call them mom or whatever. Or dad, you know, depending. But I never felt that connection. I know she was important to my dad, and I know my dad loved and cared for her. But that was it. She was just seen as my dad's wife. And she passed away from cancer. It was a long 10 plus year struggle that she had. And I saw the effects that her sickness and her passing did on my dad. And I still see it. And I think that's what's the hardest thing, is seeing how much my dad went through when she passed. But yeah, it happens, unfortunately.
Hello, Artemis. Doing well, I hope.
The question's polite, a little stale. She has an investigative eye, like she's mentally piecing Artemis apart. Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thanks. This is awkward, even for you. Luckily, Gavin interrupts the silence that's beginning to stretch into something uncomfortable by directing a sentence toward Diana. Diana, sweetie, how about you get your practice sheets for tomorrow so Mommy can help you with them? Diana bounces on the balls of her feet, nodding so fiercely that you think she might rattle her brain. Okay. She zooms out of the kitchen and clambers up the stairs, and in the wake of her temporary absence, Artemis speaks. What are you making? Gavin is peeling the tunic off of an onion. The movement delicate, then sets it down on a nearby cutting board. Just a stir fry. I started some rice a little bit ago. It'll be ready soon if you can wait that long. Yeah, that's totally fine. We can wait. Is there anything we can do to help? Gavin looks up at you, eyes curious for a second. Then a kind smile brightens his face. Something fond blooms in your chest.
That's very nice of you to ask.
Honey, would you like to help me cut some vegetables? I have some more on the counter here. Sure. Artemis, there are some frozen spring rolls in the freezer if you want to throw those in for me. I gotcha. The three of you fall into step with each other easily, flitting around the kitchen and preparing the meal for everyone. On the other side of the counter, Nevaeh is helping Diana work through a sheet of preparatory words for her spelling bee tomorrow morning. The scent of dinner is starting to float through the air. Gavin hums as he cooks. The whole scene is a domestic one. It's something so casual, so familial, so much so that you think you could pout about it a little. It's something you're so grateful to have been welcomed into. You catch Artemis smiling at you a couple times while you're chopping veggies. They're happy you're here, and you can tell by the sparkle in their eyes. It's not long before dinner is ready. Gavin gets Diana set the table in the dining room, and before you know it, everyone is sat, steaming food on your plates. It smells so good that it's mouth-watering, and you're only just starting to realize how hungry you actually are. Lucky for you, and for everyone else at the table, the food is so delicious. You have to constantly slow how fast you're eating because it's so good. Gavin has a way with food that you wasn't sure was possible. Checking to make sure I'm still recording. This is so delicious, Gavin. Thank you so much. Gavin smiles behind his big frosty glass of lemonade. He pulled the cup from the freezer before dinner started. Of course. Thanks for your help, kids. He is referring to you and Artemis, and maybe Diana too, since she helped set up the table. But something about being included in the sentence makes you want to bawl your eyes out.
No problem.
For sure, Dad. It's no problem. Yeah, no problem at all. There's a comfortable silence for a long moment. Then from across the table, Gavin speaks again. Artemis, you haven't told me too much about Tiny here. How'd you two meet? Next to you, Artemis sort of startles, their eyes widening behind the lens of their glasses. You nudge their foot affectionately under the table with yours. They glance over at you before looking back at their dad.
Oh,
We met at Webb's, the coffee shop I go to all the time. Tiny's best friend is close with Kolia and Karu, so we happened upon each other a couple times. Gavin hums thoughtfully, having a spring roll with the side of his fork. Halving a spring roll with the side of his fork. Been together a while then, yeah? Not really. It's been 2 weeks. Gavin hums again, but this time it's a different sounding one. Oh my god, no! Meeting the family after 2 weeks, huh? Should I expect an engagement in 6 more? Artemis grows bright pink. Suddenly, the food on your plate is extremely interesting.
Dad.
It's not that serious. They start to stumble over their words, realizing what they said seconds after the sentence left their mouth. I mean, it is serious. Like we're serious, but not. No one is getting engaged. Oh my god, poor thing. There's a pause. Gavin is taking another sip of his juice. Smile hidden behind the glass. Oh my god. Not yet. Of course, a parent has to tease their kid. There's a hot flush creeping up your neck. Not yet. So eventually, Artemis thinks you and them are going to be engaged eventually. Something about the thought of being engaged to Artemis makes your brain stop working, and you feel like you have to reboot.
So what do you do for a living?
You know you shouldn't be surprised for being talked to at the table. But you startled the same way Artemis did when their dad had asked them a question. I'm a photographer. Oh, that's good. Do you get steady work? Yeah, for the most part. It's getting colder, so a lot of my outdoor shoots have slowed down. But I'm already booked for several winter weddings. Haha, you know how it is. For sure. I'm glad you're getting work regardless of the season, though. I bet it can be tough. Yeah, definitely. It varies, but I'm doing pretty all right now, and that's what's most important to me. There's another silence as everyone resumes eating. Do you find that you have a couple questions of your own? How could you not? You're meeting Artemis's family for the first time, in their childhood home for the first time. It would be weird not to have any questions. What do you want to ask?